can we make it a separate action item?
That's fine.
Since it was listed under the consent agenda, can we do that? I don't know, to be honest.
I don't know. No one has ever suggested doing that before. I guess typically these questions come prior to the board meeting, so we would know about this. Because delaying this, we actually have a teacher we're trying to hire, and we would like to get board approval so we don't lose the teacher.
But in all fairness, we didn't talk about that one either. That was added. It wasn't part of this report.
He wasn't a part of that report when we talked about it.
So I think it's only fair if because then we could put it and vote on it afterwards.
I don't know that we can because
it would be a separate agenda item. It's not 48 hours.
Right. That's my concern.
But personnel action is already on there.
Yeah, my suggestion would be that go ahead and keep the consent agenda as it is, and the board members either vote for it or against it. That's typically how it's done.
Because I would be very hesitant to take it off the consent agenda and put it on as an action item at the end because we haven't duly noted it as a separate action item 48 hours in advance. And I don't know if that's the right thing or the wrong thing, but I would err on the side of caution.
Okay.
So if we strike it, I would recommend that we postpone it to the July meeting, just not knowing any better. I really don't. So.
I mean, I would. I don't want that guy to it'd be waiting a month, I mean, if that's the case, but I mean.
So we can still, as Mark pointed out, we can still leave it on there.
For your clarification, Gina?
Yes.
You can say whatever you want because this is not part of open session. And this is part of the open session packet, so.
I can?
You can use his name, you can.
Well, I don't even know him.
Shuman Shahid.
Oh, well, I guess because I feel district spending should not be taken lightly. Our constituents want accountability. And so to approve a salary increase before I've seen like a performance evaluation, even though I'm told that I'm not supposed to see performance evaluations, I just feel like for me being a steward of the public's money, I would like to see either they're doing a good job or they're not doing a good job before I approve an increase for them. That's all I want to say.
Okay.
So
the topic so that could potentially be a future board topic?
Oh, I don't know.
But for the purpose of this evening, leaving it on the consent agenda will allow you still to vote either favorably or unfavorably, for the consent agenda.
I see.
So, okay. All right. Anything else on the consent agenda? Then may I have a motion, please, that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda as revised?
So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Who's the second? Patty. It has been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda as revised.
Mrs. Essick?
Yes.
Mrs. Hope?
Yes.
Mr. Marabli?
Yes.
Mrs. Nelson?
No.
Mrs. O'Hara?
No.
Mrs. Tegmeyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Sedlak?
Yes. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to the reports and discussion items. Superintendent's report.
Yes, first item, the June testing report, and brings John Wick. Dr. Wick, we appreciate you coming for these evening meetings and for the testing reports. I promised John that we would do the things that he's involved with first. You can certainly stay for the rest of the meeting, but...
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I kind of thought that might be the case. All right. I'll come back to the conclusions, but I do want to get right into the GATES results, and I know, John, you're ready to talk about that, so let me just advance. Whoops, one too many. These are the GATES results for this year and the historical back to 2008. Take it away, John.
All I can say is that the GATES scores are up a little bit this year, but I think the key thing from a policy point of view is that those scores are very high, and they've been high for a while, and they've been going up for a while. And sometimes we get so used to and forget what that means, that your median percentile rank on the GATES is percentile rank 83. That means that 50% of your kids score above percentile rank 83. In the United States, 17% score above percentile rank 83. The thing that's happening to us now with the GATES is that we're getting so many kids piling up near the top. There's kind of a ceiling effect now, and it's getting harder and harder because we not only have to maintain them at the top, but we got to get a bunch coming up from the middle too. So the fact that we actually gained again this year, I think is impressive. Can I jump out of the order here?
Please.
What I'm hoping we can do next year Pleasantdale is going to move to a new form of the ITBS, Form E. Form E, for the first time, is built entirely to conform with the state, the Common Core state standards. And I've gone through the standards and I've gone through the tests, and I want to tell you that the standards are requiring much higher performance in mathematics than this country has ever wanted before. The emphasis on pre-algebra skills starts right at 2nd and 3rd grade and is pushed real hard all the way through. The reading test appears to me to be about the same. The writing, the language area is toughened up. They're looking for a lot more interpretation, a lot more expression as versus usage. Usage being following rules, expression being saying things and doing things the way they ought to be done. And they're emphasizing that a lot more. The nice thing is that you're changing to that form in the fall. In the fall, Mark will give me the class lists of all the math and language classes, and I'll pull together the distribution of the largest error-making categories of the kids in that specific room. And so they'll have about 2 weeks. The new tutorials, which are sensitive and completely reflect the Form E test, the new standards, will be available to your kids before they actually take the ITBS, so they will be forewarned of some of these changes that are occurring. And that's a good thing for you because the norms are going to be equated, so it isn't like that those are going to change, but your kids will be one of the few districts that actually is forewarned of the changes that are going to occur. So I just wanted to add that in there, Mark.
Thank you.
And oh yeah, here's why I said that. The ITBS, for the first time, has what they call interim tests, so that you can give a test that's on the same norms and the same scales as the ITBS in the spring without giving the whole test. So from now on, rather than giving the gates in the spring, I suspect we'll be giving the interim reading test. And so from now on, whereas those norms, those percentile ranks are not on the same scale as the ITBS are, now they will be on the same scale. So we'll not only will see growth, we can see within the year growth, and that will be worth doing.
John, we'll go to, I'll come back to these, or Douglas, I'll come back to these. This is Explore?
Explore. What's nice about the Explore is that the trends are consistently up. We had a little blip there at with one cohort, but the trends are clearly up. And that's hard to do, and it's only a 25-point, well, the scale is 25 points. It's pretty hard to get that kind of growth, and it's happening for the same reason that our ITBS scores go up. The kids are beginning, the errors are identified, and then the kids correct their errors, and so they're going to perform higher the next year. Show me the one on that shows the district comparison.
To the township or the?
Yeah, the township, yeah.
Okay.
This is important. To me, this is really important because what's happening here is that you are consistently higher than any other school in the township, and the difference between your scores and the other scores is getting larger. The bottom line of what that means is the proportion of kids from Pleasantdale who are getting into the higher level courses versus the middle range courses is going up. You have a disproportionate number of kids getting in the highest level courses. I only taught high school for 2 years, but I know from my 2 years of teaching that those higher level courses are taught better